Welcome to episode 2. Tonight we're going to be reviewing the tarot, tarot for beginners, where to start. Again, many people come seeking and they want to figure out where's the best place to begin. They've been really drawn to learn the tarot and they want to know where to start. So there's kind of two camps in the tarot. You know how there's Coke or Pepsi or PC or Apple or Beatles, Rolling Stones? Well, there's kind of two major tarot places people start, either with the Tahote or the Thoth tarot, which I think would be Coke, PCs, and the Stones, and the Smith Rider-Waite tarot, which are Pepsi, Mac, and the Beatles. So the Rider-Waite, this is a picture of the Strength card. And right away, even if you don't have any experience with tarot and you understand astrology, you'd look at this card and say, there's a big lion on there. Leo the lion, that must be the Leo card. And you would be right. So again, if you have some working knowledge of astrology, it's going to help you with all of the other cards. So I'm just looking for some interesting cards to talk about. These pictures, this is either the first or the last card, depending on how you look at it. He's both, the Fool. So this is about a leap of faith. And you could say, well, you know, I'm just going to use my intuition and I'm going to look at the cards. And as I look at the cards, then I'll understand what they mean. And, you know, you just showed me that I could look and understand that Leo was the lion. And that was easy. So I'll just look at the cards and I don't have to learn the language. I don't have to learn how to read them. I can just do it on my intuition. And I suppose that's true. But you wouldn't be reading the cards. You would just be using your intuition, which you could be an intuitive reader, and you could use your psychic ability in that way. But if you understand the language of the tarot, if you understand what the pictures mean, then you can make the stories a lot easier. Basically, reading the tarot is understanding that each card is part of a sentence. And when you lay the cards out together, they start to give you fuller sentences. And if you lay them out in a certain way, you could have paragraphs of information. So where do you begin? Well, this book, called The Pictorial Key to the Tarot, written by Arthur E. Waite, is the seminal work that accompanies Pamela Colman Smith's drawings, hence the Colman Rider-Waite deck. It was originally called Rider-Waite because Rider published it, and Waite wrote this book. And Pamela was just given credit as a word says the artist. It didn't even name her in the original writings. But she added a lot. She knew a lot more than some of these old men. And there are a few contradictions, like when you look at the Ace of Cups in this book, it says the 4 streams flow from the cup. And in her picture, she has 5 because she understands that earth, fire, water, and air, astrology, create spirit. But this is a really good book to start with to understand the language. Then recently, Llewellyn has come out with this monster book, The Rider-Waite Smith Tarot, the complete guide. And it's a huge tome by Sasha Graham. It is just an amazing amount of information. It has over 450 pages of information, and it goes through each card, and it gives you information about the symbolism, a general reading, how to look at it for yourself, how to look at it for others, just an incredible amount of information. So if you want to start reading, this is a really good book. Then when you want to start digging a little deeper into the elemental energy and the astrological energy, and you want a really, really experienced, knowledgeable person, you want to get your hands on Anything You Can by Mary Kay Greer. So this is one of her books called Archetypal Tarot, or Archetypal Tarot, what your birth card reveals about your personality, path, and potential. Birth card. Could that have something to do with astrology? Who are you in the tarot? The tarot cards associated with your birth date and name form a pattern for personal destiny. Fantastic book. All right. She also wrote a book called Tarot for Yourself, and this is a workbook for the inward journey. So again, a lot of times the seeker wants to know about the self, for if that which you seek you find not within, you will never find it without. Words of Doreen Valiente. We'll talk about her in the witchcraft book reviews. The Tarot for Yourself by Mary Kay Greer. Wonderful book. Then there's another interesting thing. We know that the chakras are related to the planets, or the planets are related to the chakras. Well, look at this. You could have tarot and the chakras. What does this say? This says opening new dimension for healers. Chakra healing. Discover how to use the tarot and the chakras to support holistic views and to understand alternative energy systems. Really good book. And then last but certainly not least, if you want to get a little more intensively into things and you want to start to understand the Tree of Life, which we'll talk about in our next set of book reviews, you want this, The Kabbalist Tarot by Wang. And in here, he uses pictures from both the Rider-Waite-Smith deck and the Tohote or Thoth deck by Aleister Crowley, and his own deck, the Wang Tarot deck, and he talks about how the major arcana relate to the pathways on the Tree of Life, and there's still a tremendous amount of information regarding the cards themselves, but it relates the cards to the pathways on the tree for an even deeper understanding of the language of the tarot. So tarot is something that I've been into since 1987. Oh, God, I'm getting old. That's when I first started reading. And, I started out just doing an awful lot of research and then practicing. And when people come to take a divination class, they always say to me, well, are you going to make us psychic? Somebody always in the class always says, how are you going to make us psychic? And I tell them, I can't make you psychic, but I will say that each of us has within us that energy to be psychic, or the understanding to be psychic. Just like each of us, if we dedicated ourselves with some time and effort, could play the piano. Now, let's say that the piano teacher comes and says, press middle C. And we don't know what middle C is. We've never seen a piano before. But she takes us in and we have a clue. She said middle, but then we realize that the C looks like a B, and she shows us and we press it. And our homework for that week is to press middle C every day. So we go in and we press middle C the next day because now we know exactly where it is. Well, by the third or fourth day, you may be hearing it in your mind before you press it, because your subconscious is connected to your conscious mind, knows what your intention is, and understands you're going to press middle C and you're going to hear that sound, so you hear it in advance. So if you were to pull a card for a day or pull a card for the week and really research that card and compare it to what's going on in your life for that day or that week, you begin to truly speak the language. And then you can start to put combinations of cards together into sentences, just like you could start to make chords if you were playing the piano. You know what is harmonious and you know what creates disharmony. So can you learn to be psychic? You can awaken that psychic energy within you, and you can use it to read the tarot, or you can use it to find out about yourself. You can use it for healing. You can use it for helping. And, you know, these are my picks of books if you're going to start looking at the tarot. And none of them necessarily are beginner books, but it is a place to start. There are a lot of books out there called, you know, Tarot for Beginners, whatnot like that. But I think Rider-Waite is the tarot to start with. And once you understand how to read that deck, you could read any of the other bazillion decks, because they're all a take on either this deck or the Tehote Thoth deck by Crowley. But once you understand the basic language of the 78 cards, then you'll understand how to read other tarots. And there is a difference between tarot and oracle. A tarot deck has a structure to it. It has 22 major arcana cards, which are the story of the sun, and it has 4 minor arcana suits, which are the elements or the story of the moon. So again, you see astrology kind of playing into another form of divination, or another tool that we would use within the craft of the wise, or things that seekers are seeking. So next, we will be looking at my picks for learning about the Tree of Life or the Kabbalah. I hope you've enjoyed this episode. Thank you, and blessed be.